Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I welcome this latest Chancellor to his place. For many of our constituents, like my constituent Angela, they have seen their bills double. Her gas bill went up from £130 to £260 a month. She is in a tiny two-bedroom flat on carer's allowance and PIP with a son who has a disability, and she simply cannot afford these bills. Come March, when the energy support ends, Cornwall Insight have estimated that the price cap will rise to £3,700. There has been talk of targeting support after this, but National Energy Action point out the risk of excluding many people who are already suffering in fuel poverty. So what reassurance can he give to people out there seeing these bills coming in now, which are already unaffordable, as to what will happen in March?
Well, I thank the Honourable Lady for her question. I want to reassure her that my right honourable friend, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, spoke to John Swinney, the Scottish Finance Minister, yesterday. We are thinking very carefully about all those issues. But just to correct any misunderstanding, the energy price support that we give to families will not end from next April, and I'll be announcing on Thursday what that support will be.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I recently attended a business meeting with leaders in Clacton, and they worry about being hamstrung on the global stage. We're going to be one of the highest payers of corporation tax anywhere. Does my right honourable friend agree that despite recent financial upheavals, we must keep our focus on growth and support our businesses, both large and small, by keeping a firm lid on corporation tax?
Mr Speaker, I can give my honourable friend that assurance that the government is on the side of both small businesses, of fiscal responsibility, and the introduction of the small profits rate will help those businesses that he talks about.
Throughout the summer, the Prime Minister said repeatedly we cannot allow debt to spiral, we cannot burden future generations with further debt. Does my right honourable friend share his commitment, and will he use his statement on Thursday to set out a pathway to debt reduction?
Well, my honourable friend will know that Margaret Thatcher said that there is nothing moral about spending money you do not have, and that is precisely because of what she says, that it passes on the burden to future generations to pay it back. Currently, our debt to GDP ratio is about 98%, and we are currently spending debt interest £22 billion more in the year to date than at the same time last year. That's more than the entire budget of the Home Office. So I absolutely agree with her.
Always. Mr Speaker, as I understand it, the Chancellor is basing his fiscal strategy on OBR forecasts, but does he agree with me that the only thing we know for certain about those forecasts is that they're wrong?
Well, we know that all economic forecasts are inaccurate, but that doesn't mean it's better not to have a forecast than to have one. And in defence of the OBR, I would say that their forecasts are more accurate than the government forecasts that we used to use before them.
Mr Speaker, our growth rate in the 12 years since 2010 has been just 1.4%, lower than the OECD average, behind the USA, behind Canada and behind Germany. The public should have an answer to this. Why does the Chancellor think that is?
What the public know is that unemployment is the lowest for nearly half a century under a Conservative government.
Chris Bryant. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Energy inflation and food inflation is already making the finances of schools and local authorities almost unsustainable. Many are in real fear of going bust over the next few months. Can I just urge the Chancellor, as he's thinking about Thursday, not to push this all down onto council tax, because many of the poorest areas in the country have the highest level of need and the fewest number of people who can afford to make additional contributions. So that would be entirely counterproductive, and the ratchet effect could actually make local authorities even more unsustainable.
I do hear what the right honourable gentleman says, and it is going to be a very difficult announcement on Thursday, because we're going to be asking everyone to contribute more, but we'll be asking people who have more to contribute even more, and that will be reflected in our decisions on council tax and every other tax as well.